It's easy to sit back and blame corporations for the evils of the world. McDonald's makes people fat. Advertising companies lie to sell their products. That guy at Starbucks is on a mission to ruin your milkshake every morning. The list goes on and on. But then some companies resort to nothing short of murder and mass genocide to save a few bucks and make sure their products are nestled comfortably in every home. Monsanto. They're a pesticide manufacturer known for being the first company to genetically modify a seed to be resistant to pesticides and herbicides. Their seeds are billed as Roundup ready, meaning that it's the only thing that will stay alive in a field that's been sprayed with Roundup, Monsanto's main herbicide product. This led the movement towards genetically modified crops, bigger food crops that grow faster and can be doused in chemicals and not die. Now, aside from the fact that GMO crops are largely untested except for this study where rats on an 11% GM corn diet were 6 times more likely to die, Monsanto itself is, well, fairly unethical. In 2002, Monsanto was convicted of dumping tens of thousands of pounds of PCBs into the waterways of Anniston, Alabama before lying about it for years. This led to the highest concentrations of toxic pollutants ever recorded in history. Monsanto's view on the situation was, "We can't afford to lose $1 of profit." That's a real quote. American Cyanamid Company. Between 1996 and 2000, companies in the U.S. exported a little over 1 billion pounds of chemical pesticides to third-world countries. That's not a big deal, but this is. Most of those pesticides were banned in the U.S. because they were known carcinogens. But through a loophole, it's still legal to manufacture and export them as long as they're not being used in the country. Over 350 million agricultural workers in areas like Africa and Central America are put in contact with these chemicals only through another loophole. They're not told about the small fact that without the proper gear, they have a very good chance of dying. So you end up with a situation like this plantation in Costa Rica that was sold a pesticide called Counter by American Cyanamid Company. The chemical in it is an organophosphate. That's what they used to make nerve gas before World War II. The Counter is only approved for handling if you're wearing gloves, a face mask, and eye protection. The uninformed Costa Rican farmers, on the other hand, worked shirtless and spread the pesticide with their bare hands. Some of them even used full bags of Counter as pillows at night. After a few days, the workers were vomiting blood and foaming at the mouth from the toxin that had worked into their bodies. Various pharmaceutical companies. In 2009, something strange was discovered in the water near Patancheru, India. High concentrations of over 21 different pharmaceutical drugs were mixed in with the town's water supply. As it turned out, these drugs were being dumped in the stream by the many factories in the region, factories owned by U.S. pharmaceutical companies. In particular, one factory was dumping 100 pounds of an antibiotic called ciprofloxacin into the stream per day. This is the town's only water source, providing everything from drinking water to a place to bathe. Pharmaceutical waste like this has been discovered in the U.S. as well, and it's estimated that about 46 million Americans' tap water contains traces of pharmaceutical drugs in varying concentrations. Based on where the drugs have been found, EPA officials believe that it's coming from illegal dumping by nearby factories. How evil is this? Aside from its effect on wildlife, stunted growth, we don't know what kind of effects small quantities of dozens of combined drugs will have on people. But it can't be that good. Bayer. You may also Bayer as the maker of aspirin. They're one of the top pharmaceutical companies in the world. In 1984, they discovered that one of the products they were selling, a medicine to induce blood clotting, was infecting people with HIV, so, like any responsible company, they stopped marketing it and developed a safer medicine. Right before exporting all of the contaminated medicine to Asia and Latin America, where it continued to be sold. They even continued making the HIV-infected medicine for another few months because it was cheaper to produce than the new version. This was again sold straight to developing countries. 6,000 people in the US were known to have contracted HIV and AIDS from the medicine. But how many died from the tainted medicine overseas? At least 100,000 units of the medication made their way to Asia and Argentina after Bayer stopped selling it in America. And that's for all today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Do like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon for future updates.